Well, welcome back. We are back in the shop. Looks like Dave has moved in the 34 Phaeton, or 35, which is really cool. But we are going to be working on the back brakes today and reassembling all that. So let me turn this camera around and we'll kind of look at what we're going to be doing today. So this is the page we're going to be working off today, where we'll brake. So this is the back plates, primed and painted, back brake drums, primed and painted. This is what we're going to be working off of. On the end, all the hardware. I have the rubber gaskets in this cleaned up, and I do have the little spring rings that go in there as well. Cleaned up. We do have some gaskets we're going to have to cut, so I bought some gasket material. We took apart the other wheel cylinders and brake cylinders and tried to get a rebuild kit, but they weren't available, but we did manage to outsource the brakes that should fit this, so hopefully that will all fit correctly. The other one had tears in the rubber gasket, and I'll try to include the video of it being torn apart, and hopefully maybe in the front of this video. So anyways, everything else should be able to ready to rock and roll. So what we're going to do is just kind of walk through step by side, putting one side back together, and then probably throw it and fast forward for most of the rest of the side. Anyways, the shop boss is in the house. She is hiding under a table apparently. So let's get started. Awesome. So I think we rounded up everything we needed. Now I had to run and grab some cotter pins. So we're actually going to be working off 2 pages. We're going to be putting this section together right here, and then we're also going to be putting this section together back here. So we're going to try to do it all at one time here. So we're going to start with this top section. So I've got all these pieces. I'm just going to line them out. It looks like that these shims will be going from the inside to the out. So looking here, they'll be this thinner to the thicker ones, and then we'll have our little gasket on the outside as we're building outward. Right, and then I did too go back over and clean up all these bolts. So they have these kind of moon shaped ones, and these are going to fit over on top here, so when they're going through the hole, you'll see they'll be lined up on that side. So that was one of the last things. I was looking for the bolts to make sure I had the right ones, and I had them in the right container, but hadn't cleaned them up. So ran over and cleaned them up real fast. So now I think we're going to get it thrown together. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this section back together. And the way it looks like is we have a bolt, and then we'll have a lock washer on the inside. So what we'll do is we'll slide these through here. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's been a pretty nice day here. Can't decide whether it wants to be sunny or cold, but it's finally, sun looks like it's come out here. Awesome. So we'll have that section. Now coming on to our shims, it should be the thinnest shim to the thickest shim. So we'll line those up next. And would probably be easier just to put them on separately. And I tried to get everything as clean and wire brushed. A lot of time spent cleaning and things on this project. Awesome. So, and then we'll get our 2 thicker ones. Like so. Awesome. And then we have our gasket that we cut, which should be the next piece on here. And this was, I believe, a rubber coated gasket is what this is. It feels like cardboard, but awesome. And then next should go on our plate. And I believe, looking at this, we want the side with the holes, more holes, I guess, facing upward. So we'll slide this on right over the top. Like so. Awesome. So I believe now, let me just double check. We should be able to put the lock washers and nuts on these bolts. Whoa. And I believe these are going to be 1/2 inch according to the book. Yep. So they're 1/2 inch on here. Whoa. Cool. I'll throw it in fast forward, tighten this up, and then we'll take our next steps. Awesome. And I'll move this right here for you. Next, our brakes are going to fit through here, and you can see these are just going to go on right here like so. And then this is a 7/16, I believe, that puts it in place. So let me go ahead and bolt this on, and then we'll kind of walk through the next part. Oh, and I did have to take off the spigot on back to get it through the hole, so I'll put this back on once I finish mounting this brake cylinder. Oh, and I completely forgot the middle section, so let's take this piece back off real quick. As does happen with me. Get ahead of myself. Let's see. All right, so now we can go ahead. So this is the piece we're missing, and this actually has a ring that goes around the inside of this loop here. Whoop! It kind of looks like a hair tie spring here, and we're just gonna put this back around like so. That's just a little bit of a retaining ring, and then this should go right here, like so. And then we should be able to put on our lock washers. Awesome. And just as a reminder, I have this upside down right now. So everything I've been showing is actually backwards. So this will be the bottom of the brakes. This will be the top. So when we're looking at it, we're facing this direction. Just wanted everyone to know, just in case the top bottom thing is confusing at any point in the video. All right. And for the next part, we'll put these on. What we need to do is go ahead and slide these in. Oh. You see I've been sliding them kind of in and out. And then we'll go ahead and get them into place. We'll take the shoes and put them through that hole in the bottom. And then you'll see they'll come through these angle spots. And there we go. And we just need to line up on top on both sides, like so. There we go. Now we can go ahead and tighten these bolts on back. Awesome, and so I just have them on hand tight right now, pretty much hand tight, a little bit of a curve. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on this nut on as well. I believe these ended up being 3/8. Let me double check. Actually, I think those ended up being 9/16. on these ones right here. So these were 9/16. Let me grab the socket. I'll find out what this one is. Awesome. So I believe that was a 15/16, but I just used the crescent wrench. Scratch my paint a little bit, but we are going to be doing some paint touch-ups. I'm going to get a can of paint so we can do the nuts and bolts and everything once we get everything completely assembled. So now looking at the front, we have our cylinder in place. Our shoes are both in place. So this piece will actually push up a little bit further like that. And now we can go ahead and get our spring on. So let me grab the spring and we'll see if we can throw that on here. All right, so we have our little pin in. I have these tightened, and I've tried to get it in the tightest position possible, so where it's squeezed together the most. Have that back nut on for the bottom part. Now we should be able to slide the drums on. Just want to make sure we're facing that direction with our little notch. So we'll just slide it towards the notch, and we should be able to slide right over the top. Cool. Now our bar's lined up. We have a washer, and then we have a crown nut on the outside. And then I will go find, I believe this is metric. I think I have I know a 15/16 fixed loosely on it, but let me double check that real fast and we'll get it put in. It looks like this is supposed to be a 5/8 hub, but I don't know. We just have this socket that fit on it. They found one that was sanded off, so we're just gonna fix this one really well. Awesome. And the last thing we need to do is throw a cotter pin in here. This one's a little bit long, but maybe we can clip it down a little bit here. There we go. There we go. I think we're going to have to give it a little bit of a bend. Yeah. Awesome. Also, there is a little rubber plug that goes on this bottom hole, and it just looks like this. I have placed it on the outside. It can be placed on the inside. As long as it stays in, it should be fine either way. Awesome. So I hope this video was helpful to some, entertaining to others. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side thrown together off of camera, and then next time I believe we're going to be working on the emergency brake for the back of the rear end as our next step. I'm also going to throw in some videos from a friend of ours of the channel who has started their own Cushman Titan project, and we're going to throw that on. I believe they're calling it Black Beauty, and it's going to be a cool machine, going to be used for sandblasting at their business, have a big blaster on the back of it. So you're going to get to see some of that thrown on. They're throwing it together really quickly, so I'll just throw it on the end of this video and let you guys kind of see their steps, and then we'll definitely see if they'll send us pictures. It's Newt, and I'll throw his information on the project when they're done. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe, let us know how we're doing. If you have any questions about anything that was done in the video, definitely let us know, and definitely, most definitely, thanks for watching.